All right. This is our video for the syllabus and the schedule of topics. So this song in the background, Help Me, Help You, is perfect because I want to help you understand what's expected this semester, work your way through the syllabus, work your way through the schedule of course topics, so you know exactly when we're doing what we're doing and what you need to do and when you need to do it by and all that good stuff. So help me, help you. I'm going to help you in this video. Give me 1 second to turn off the music. All right. So if you go into our Blackboard site, which I discussed at length in the other video that I posted for class, I went through on the site where you can find the PDF file you can download, which is the course syllabus, and also where you can find the schedule of topics. If you click on that, remember, you will also find a PDF that you can download with the entire schedule of course topics for the semester. So I'm going to take you through the syllabus first and the schedule of course topics second. So the syllabus is very chock full of information. That's a nice way of saying it's long. But the reason for that is there is a lot that, two things. I want to be sure that you know everything you need to know about what's expected of you this semester, what policies are in place, both for the class and at the college, and how that impacts you in the course, but also because this is an online course. And there are also other issues going on with COVID at the college and in the community. There were lots of extra things I also had to add that were specifically related to COVID and related to online courses. So believe me when I tell you, I tried to make this as comprehensive a syllabus as possible. I know it's a lot to go through, but it really is important that you do so. And please understand the expectation is that you have read it, because everybody is bound by what's in it if you're in my course, right? So as I wrote in the syllabus right at the beginning, the syllabus is really a contract between me as the professor and you as the student. And basically, you're expected to read what is in the syllabus, and I am expected to deliver my end of what I say I'm going to do as your instructor that is enumerated in the syllabus, and you are expected to know what those things are and to follow through with them. Please know that you can find your basic course information in terms of, this is a 3-credit course. My office, if we were not doing things remotely this semester, would be 202 Curtis Hall, but as you know, this is an online course and office hours are going to be virtual this semester. So you can contact me outside of class time via email, or you can use the contact the facilitator link in the course forum section on our Blackboard site. Either one is fine. I check my email very regularly. So I will try to get back to you no later than 48 hours, sometimes sooner than that during the semester. I put information right at the beginning of the syllabus, I can't talk. The syllabus, I've coined a new word, the syllabus. I put information right at the beginning of the syllabus about online office hours via Zoom in order to make sure each student has his or her own time with me like you would in real time in-person office hours. I'm going to be posting a schedule every Sunday on our Blackboard site for you to use to access time slots where you can then sign up on a link for office hours that week if you want to meet with me that week, and that's one-on-one. So unlike the synchronous meetings I mentioned in the Blackboard video, where other students might be in that synchronous class time, that optional synchronous class time, office hours are yours and yours alone. So whatever time slot you sign up for that week, if you do so, it's just you and me in the Zoom meeting, nobody else. In a given week, if there are no time slots available that I make available to you for virtual office hours, but you need to still speak with me, contact me via email or through the course facilitator link that I mentioned on Blackboard, and I'll try to find a mutually convenient time we can both meet virtually a different time. I do expect people to use office hours and those synchronous class meetings If you're having trouble with course material or course assignments or anything about the course that you need assistance with. I'm trying to make myself available as much as I can in virtual space. My email address is provided. My office phone is provided. Honestly, you're going to get me much more quickly through email than my office phone, especially since I'm not in my office. I'll check voicemail, but you know, it's just easier to do email at this point. I provided some information about contacting me outside of class time to say, look, during the work week, Monday to Friday, I'm going to respond to emails as quickly as I can. And I said no longer than 48 hours and sometimes earlier than that, unless something arises that temporarily lengthens the time. And I will be sure to get an email out or a Blackboard announcement out if that were to arise. Same with any discussion boards. I will monitor them at least every 48 hours. Usually more frequently than that once we start discussion boards. If for some reason a unique circumstance arises during the semester where I have to take more time to respond or monitor discussions, I will be sure to let you know in a Blackboard announcement. But as far as weekends go, you know, please understand my weekends are like your weekends, right? I have family commitments, I have other obligations. During the weekend, I'm not always going to be able to check my email. Or if I do, I'm not going to be able to respond as quickly as I do during the week. So please understand that, like you, I have multiple roles that I play. I am a professor, but I'm also a parent, but I'm also a girlfriend, but I'm also, you know, I'm also a musician, even though with COVID, of course, have not been able to perform, unfortunately. But, you know, please understand that on the weekends, I have a lot going on in my life. And I'll try to get back to you, but it might not happen until Monday. Same with wee hours of the morning. I've actually been trying really hard this summer to have a healthier sleep schedule. I have struggled with sleep most of my life. It got worse as time went on. I'm finally getting into a place where I'm not staying up until 3 in the morning because I can't sleep, and then having to sleep later in the day. And so I'm really trying to have a healthier schedule where I'm getting to bed earlier. But if for some reason I'm up at 3 in the morning, believe me, it's not by choice. It's because I have a pressing work-related or other obligation that I have to get done, and I won't be able to answer messages and things during that time. Prolonged absence, you know, especially with COVID procedures in place. I know that there may be students who, I hope this doesn't happen, but if you or a family member test positive for COVID and that is somehow going to influence your engagement in the course, there is a procedure related to COVID through the care team, through student affairs. Prolonged absence, obviously not from class in person, but if you find yourself for one reason or another, it could be COVID, it could be something else. But if you find yourself in a circumstance where you're not going to be able to engage with course material or course assignments for a lengthy period of time, then I would need to know that. And there is a procedure for that through student affairs. And then we are contacted, faculty are contacted by the Damon Care Team, as it's called. So please be sure you follow those procedures so that I know what's going on and I can give you more time to engage with assignments if there's something due that week. Please understand that once you return, it is your responsibility to discuss with me what, if any, impact your absence, depending on how long it's been, has on your ability to complete assignments or impending tests or things like that. I also provided here, but I also put it on the Blackboard site, as you know, the course outcomes and learning objectives. I explained this in the Blackboard video, so I'm not going to explain it again, but it's here in the syllabus as well as separated on our Blackboard site for easy access. Course prerequisites, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but you're supposed to have taken intro psych before you take this class. In some circumstances, I allow people to take intro at the same time as this. I don't recommend it. But sometimes people transfer or they have other psych classes they've taken where I feel like they can handle the 200 level course without having yet taken intro. Generally speaking, there's a reason intro is required because it provides you with important foundational topics in psychological science that then we build upon in this specific topic, the psych of mental illness. So to give you an example, in intro psych, you learn about conditioning. Classical conditioning, operant conditioning, modeling. In this course, with various topics. We're going to talk about the application of those forms of learning to various treatments for mental illnesses. If you already learned about them in general, it's going to be easier to understand what we're talking about when we apply it. That doesn't mean I don't go over things, doesn't mean I don't help, doesn't mean I don't explain things, but it just helps if you have those foundations in your history already done, as opposed to learning them for the first time. I gave you information about the focus of my course, and I will leave it to you to read that, but I will just say most of my course focuses on adult psychopathology. Developmental and adolescent psychopathology or mental illness is really its own field. And we have a course in that, Behavior Disorders of Childhood and Adolescence, taught by Dr. Peltz. If you're interested in that population and mental illness as applied to that population, definitely recommend you take it at some point, Psychology 231. We are generally going to focus on adults. And believe me, there's more than enough that we can focus on just in that alone, which is why developmental psychopathology is its own field. Core curriculum and honors option. This course does satisfy the current core curriculum. So I gave you the competencies that this course satisfies. Also, if you are an honors student in the honors program and you're interested in taking this course for honors credit, I need to know that by mid-semester, by midterm, and that's in the schedule of course topics to remind you as well, because there are additional projects that honors students have to do to get honors credit as it relates to this course. And there needs to be enough time for us to figure out what that's going to be and for you to actually do it. Okay, so if you are an honors program student and you're thinking about this course for honors credit, please contact me as soon as you can, sooner the better, but certainly no later than midterm, or else there won't be time to do it and it won't be available anymore. Other things, course format. As you know, we're going to do asynchronous lecture videos with the synchronous meetings each week that are optional. When I teach this class in person, I really try to make it eclectic. I do lecture, I do class activities, discussions, videos, and so obviously I have to make a little bit of an adjustment to do it online. But I'm going to do my absolute best to keep that eclectic feel, even though these are asynchronous videos and synchronous optional meetings. And so you'll see from the first videos that I post, I really try to do more than just lecture. I try to do fun things with my videos if I include them. I try to include things for you to see the application of what I'm talking about. Even in my lecture videos, I try to make it fun. So I'm going to do my absolute best, even though obviously there has to be some modification for an online course. I'm going to do my absolute best to keep things interesting, engaging, eclectic as best I can. Where I said on the video for the Blackboard site, I'm going to post PowerPoint slides at the same time I post videos for anything related to lecture content. So that will be available to you. Since we are doing asynchronous lectures, the class activities required for the course will be completed on your own time. I explain them though in real time, just like I would in front of you in class. So it's important that you're watching those videos and seeing when class activities are being given in real time in the video as I am explaining a topic. And then you will post those to Blackboard with specific due dates that I will give you in the video and remind you in a Blackboard announcement as well. Please understand that your textbook and the additional readings that are non-textbook readings and videos will always relate in a really important way to what I'm discussing in the video lectures. But that doesn't mean they're always going to be the exact replica of one another. Sometimes there's a lot of content that will be the same in lecture videos and your textbook, let's say, or your readings. Other times the readings will build in really interesting and important ways on what I said in the lecture video. So these are different ways of learning and working with the material and extending it, expanding it, and applying it. Required readings. So just to remind you, all students are required to purchase the Sue and Sue textbook, Essentials of Understanding Normal Behavior, the American Psychological Association desk reference for DSM-5, which we'll start using in Unit 4 when we get to anxiety disorders. So that will be helpful because you'll have all the DSM criteria that we're referring to, as it relates to each of the disorders from that point on in the class. And then, of course, again, the non-textbook readings that are listed in the schedule of topics and on the Blackboard site that you can get either in the semester web links folder if they're accessible online, or in the required readings folder that I showed you and talked about in the Blackboard video. If you're having trouble with any of the reading, again, the synchronous lectures that are optional, or sorry, not synchronous lectures, the synchronous meetings each week that I make available to you as an option, that'd be a good place to talk to me about the reading. Or in a virtual office hour if you're more comfortable doing it there. But please talk to me if there's something in the reading that you find difficult or confusing, or you want to talk to me more about it. Just say, hey, this is really interesting. I'm curious about this, right? That would be something cool to do in a synchronous meeting because other students might be interested in hearing about that too and conversing about that topic and that reading. As I said with everything else, if you're having trouble with the reading, it really is your responsibility to make sure you talk to me, either in a synchronous meeting or in a virtual office hour. I'm happy to help you with it, but you can't wait till right before an exam to say, hey, I didn't really understand this stuff. It doesn't give me any time to help you with it. How grades are determined in the class. So I curve the grades. What does that mean? I don't know if you've ever taken a course before where a professor curves the grades. This can only help you the way I do it. I know there are ways that can be done that can help or hurt. In my case, it's all good, no bad. All win, no lose, so you guys are cool. What I basically do is I do a C curve. So if the mean, let's say on an exam, is a 68, I would curve to the C, and that would be the 68. The 68 would be the C. So I don't apply some standard regardless of how students do in the class. I don't say, well, 75 is always a C, a 68 is always a D. No, I let the actual distribution of grades dictate how I should assign those letter grades. So if the average is on the low end, well, then maybe that means the test was particularly difficult, or maybe there was some uncertainty in the questions. And so I'm going to curve to that lower average and make that the C, right? But I'm not going to do it the other way. See, so let's say the 80 was the mean. I'm not going to say now an 80 is a C. So it only helps and doesn't hurt. If the mean is too high, then I'll go to the standard normal curve. 75 is a C, and I'll do it that way. So I will also use the standard deviation if you've taken statistics. Some of you may have, some of you may not. You will if you're a psych major at some point. I will use the standard deviation, which is really about how much variability there is around the mean to determine letter grade demarcations like A versus A minus, B plus, B minus, et cetera, et cetera. And after every exam, I will tell you what the average was, what the standard deviation was, okay, and what that curve would have looked like for that exam. So you can kind of have an idea of where you are on at least each exam. Now, please understand that because I curve, I will not be able to tell you your final grade in the class until literally all the grades are done, because it's based on what the final distribution looks like. So I can tell you as per exam, for example, or I can tell you per assignment, for example, but final grades, like what's going to be an A, what's going to be an A minus. There's no way I can know that because I'm curving for your advantage. No way I can know that until everything is done at the end of the semester and I'm finalizing the grades and the distribution. As far as how quickly exams will come back to you, you'll get them relatively quickly because they're all multiple choice. But because I'm going to be allowing you, as I'll mention in a moment, because I'm going to be allowing you to choose a subset of questions and omit others, I still have to go through them and calculate the grade myself in Blackboard, because Blackboard would automatically count your omitted items as zeros. And obviously that's not what I want to do. I'm letting you omit some items to help you. So I still have to go exam by exam by exam by exam and calculate it myself, even though it's multiple choice. Written assignments might take a little bit longer though, fair amount longer, because we have a lot of people in this class. As I said, this class in both sections is over-enrolled by at least 5 students. So it might even be more by now because I let other people into the class. So please understand that I can't get written assignments back near as quickly because I didn't want to turn anybody away who wanted to take the course. And so now we're over the cap, right? And so it's going to take a little bit longer. So I really appreciate your understanding that. Other things, posting of grades, they'll be posted on the Blackboard site. Sometimes Blackboard does weird glitchy things. So if anything strange appears in your grades on the Blackboard site, like assignments show up that aren't even part of the class, please let me know and I'll make sure I delete those columns. Sometimes that happens for weird glitchy reasons that are way too much to explain and boring, and you don't need to know. All that matters is if you see something strange and go, Dr. Emmer, I don't think this is even an assignment. Why is it listed in my grade? Please, please, please let me know and I will eliminate it to avoid the confusion. I already told you all about the course website in a separate video, so I'm going to skip that and only say, of course, I want to reiterate, you are responsible for keeping up with assignments, exams, course material, paying attention to Blackboard announcements, checking your email, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to do my absolute best to give you as much information as possible, but you have to then do your part and stay on top of it. All of my videos, once again, will be posted on my YouTube channel. I will always let you know when I've made a video available, okay? So please make sure you're taking the time to stay on top of what's happening in the class. I can give information, but I can't force you to access it. So please, please, please stay on top of things and check things out. I want to just say now, you know, this course in particular has the potential to perhaps raise emotions or thoughts or remind you of life experiences that could become uncomfortable. One of the things I really hope you get out of this class is that mental illness is a human problem. It's a human condition. It's not something abnormal out there that humans shouldn't experience. So it's very possible that either you or a family member, a loved one, a friend have experienced something we're going to talk about. And that might bring up some uncomfortable emotions or thoughts for you. I want you to understand that I'm sensitive to those things, but it is also obviously the content of the class. I ask that you be willing to be challenged, keep your mind open, realize that some things you might think you know about these mental disorders may not be accurate, or maybe there's more to learn. To try to be non-judgmental and understand what these disorders are about and how they affect people and families and lives. Of course, if you have a specific topic that creates substantial distress for you because of life circumstances, I of course want to know about that. Because I need to know in advance. So let's say, for example, you know, I've had veterans in my class before who were suffering from severe PTSD, and they talked to me about the fact that when we talk about PTSD, it could potentially create difficulty for them. And so I worked with them to figure out how to still be responsible for the course material related to that topic or the exams, etc., but also protect their health, their mental health. So if there's something you need to tell me or an equivalent assignment I'm going to have to give to protect your health in that way, please let me know in advance so that we can figure out a viable solution. You will then find in the syllabus course requirements that determine your grade in this course and what percentage of your final grade each counts for. Exams, class activities, discussion boards, homework assignments, reading response papers. So I talked about these in the Blackboard video. I showed you where they are on the Blackboard site. 3 non-cumulative exams, just to remind you, there's no cumulative final in this class. So each exam covers whatever the prior exam did not, okay? You're allowed to drop your lowest exam grade. So you have 2 options here. You either take all 3 and drop the lowest grade, or you just don't take one of them. But be aware that if you don't take one of them, that obviously has to be dropped because it's going to be a 0 otherwise. You can't drop more than 1. And I only give makeups in circumstances that truly warrant it. Now with COVID, we have a new complication where people could possibly, I hope this does not happen to anybody, but where you or a family member could become infected with COVID. And obviously that's a unique and special circumstance. And the college has ways of informing faculty of prolonged absences, whether it's COVID or not. which I talked about earlier in this video regarding the syllabus. But other than things that are excused absences, and a little bit later in the syllabus, I told you what excused absences are. Other than that, you can't take makeup exams, especially since I let you drop one, and you know when they are, and they're online, and you get more than enough days to take the exam. So please be mindful. Now, obviously, if you think you have a situation that fits the excused absence, as I've explained it in the syllabus here, by all means, talk to me. Okay, but other than that, please be mindful that you can't make up exams, and you can drop one, but if you skip it without a makeup that I have allowed for an excused situation, you're going to have to drop it. Class activities, I explained those already. So again, be mindful that I'm going to announce them in real time in my videos as they relate to course topics. Discussion boards, I told you we're starting with Unit 4, and I'll give you more information about that when we get closer. Homework assignments, I already explained in the prior video. And again, those are going to be announced in my videos as we are getting to certain topics that warrant an assignment. And I will also post it on a Blackboard announcement. But they're not in the schedule of topics because it depends how quickly we get through a particular topic that fits the homework assignment. And there's no way for me to really know that completely in advance. Reading response papers, I mentioned in the prior video. And again, we're going to start that with Unit 4. So I will talk more about the content of that when we get closer to it and post it on Blackboard, and I'll post a video. Please note, exams are worth 50%, class activities 10%, discussion boards when we start them, but 10%, homework assignments 15%, reading response papers 15%, for a total of 100% of the grade, right? Student support specific to online learning, I mentioned this in the Blackboard video, but there's a lot of detail about it in my syllabus, just to remind you what I said in the Blackboard video, because this is an online course. The college requires me, which I think is a good thing, college requires me to point your attention and provide for you on our Blackboard site resources that students need when they take an online course. I went through that in the Blackboard video, so I won't go through it again here. You don't need to hear it again in this video, but please be aware that in this portion of the syllabus, I gave you information about, again, in written form, what each of those student resources are on the Blackboard site. Attendance policy, again, we're not in-person, face-to-face, so it's a little bit different. But even when we are face-to-face, I don't have an attendance policy because I think it's up to you. If you're taking a course and expending the time and grade and money, I would hope you're taking it because you want to take it and you actually want to learn the content of the course, right? And engage with it. So obviously this isn't in person, but the lectures are asynchronous. Obviously, if you're not watching the videos, you're not going to have any idea what's going on in the class. And you're not going to get the activities done, the applied activities done. You're not going to even know how they relate to course material, right? You're not going to do well on exams if you're not watching the videos because you're not going to know what the course content is. So, you know, attendance means something a little bit different in our online course because the synchronous meetings are optional, right? So the content is asynchronous and posted, but you still have to watch it. And you still have to engage with the material and you still have to do the assignments and engage in the discussion board. So in that sense, it will hurt you to not do those things, but I don't have a policy about attendance per se. Asking me for help via email, you know, unless it's a really brief question that I can easily answer over email, I tell students, don't email me about it if it's something longer or that requires explanation. Meet me in a virtual office hour for that. Or if you think it's appropriate, a synchronous optional meeting where other students will be present and maybe could benefit from your questions. But I can't spend hours writing in an email something that I really should be explaining to you. It makes more sense for me to explain verbally than try to write out. That would take a long time and might not even be as helpful as me explaining it, okay? So, there are other things in the syllabus about emails and accountability for success. I'm going to leave it to you to read that, but I'll just say, you know, as I've said at the beginning of this video, the syllabus is a contract between me and you. The whole class is a contract between me and you, right? So I pledge to you to try to make my videos as engaging and organized and as learning centric and student centric as I can, and to give you information that you need to do well on assignments and understand assignments and resources and all that kind of stuff. But then you have to also be responsible for your own learning, seeing me when you have questions or something is unclear, planning in advance, things like that. The makeup test policy is here, and I explained it to you earlier in this video, but I also want you to take a look at it and again read it to be clear. Again, you get to drop the lowest exam. You will be able to answer a subset of questions. So you get to omit like 5 questions, let's say, in the multiple choice exams. And again, these will be online. So if you've never taken an online exam before in Blackboard, please avail yourself of those resources on the website, on the Blackboard site that shows you how to take exams in Blackboard. But I will also, prior to our first exam, post a little practice where you can get in and out and save and learn how to do that. I already talked about the makeup exam and assignment policy, and it's the same policy for both. Again, I understand COVID-specific issues might arise this semester, and the college has a mechanism for dealing with that. Okay, so you'll go through that process with the college. And I know emails have been sent out to students and other resources from Student Affairs about how to deal with that situation. And then they will inform your professors of a prolonged absence. Other things I want you to know, again, what counts as acceptable documentation. Please understand, if you tell me some absence that you have from an assignment that you can't get done on time, or some exam you can't take on time, you can't just tell me about it. There needs to be acceptable documentation. Now, in the COVID case or health-related reasons that are not COVID, there is the care team that we get a report, or we get an email from the care team at Damon College saying student's going to have a prolonged absence for health reasons or whatever. But if it's something else, I need the documentation to prove that, to be fair to all students. It's not that I don't trust you, but unfortunately, I've been doing this a long time, and sometimes students make up some wild stories. I'm not saying you're going to do that, but just to keep the playing field even, I have to have these policies in place. There is a late policy for assignments, 5% per day. So again, if you didn't upload it in time to Blackboard on the due date, or you didn't complete the SurveyMonkey by the due date, unless you have extenuating circumstances that you have cleared with me and gotten an extension for an excused reason, an acceptable excused reason, there's going to be a 5% per day late policy to keep everybody honest and make it fair for everyone. And fairness is so important to me. Even if you are excused, by the way, you don't have infinite time to make it up unless you're going to have a really prolonged absence, and I would be notified of that, and then I would work with you, and then it's possible you might need an incomplete in the class, and we'll address that if that winds up being necessary. If you're going to be away for any reason, work, travel, etc., when an assignment is supposed to be uploaded or due, it is your responsibility to let me know in advance and really to get it in early, unless there's some extenuating circumstance that prohibits that. And then it's your responsibility to talk with me before you leave, wherever it is you need to go, so we can figure out if it's acceptable for you to turn it in late, okay? It's really important to me to be fair to all students above all else. And I really want everyone to feel like they're being treated fairly and equally. And that's why I have to have these policies. So I hope folks can respect that and understand that. Email etiquette, I'm going to leave it to you to read, but sometimes, sometimes faculty get emails from professors like, hey, yo, what's up? And I'm pretty easy peasy, easy going. I think you can see that by now. But I do think it's important to learn email etiquette, because when you graduate, or even before that, you might be doing internships or other professional things, or asking for letters of recommendation. It's important to engage in email with your professors in a way that is more professional and clear and things like that. So take a moment to take a look at that. If you would, I'd appreciate the email etiquette information if you would read that over. Extra credit, I already told you about the website discussion for Blackboard, the SONA system. Please read, and I'll just say it here briefly. Extra credit will be given to students if you decide to participate in research. You can learn, you can earn, no, can't learn. Well, I mean, I hope you learn, but not extra credit, right? So you can earn up to 2 extra credit points for each course you're enrolled in. So if you do 4 credits worth of extra credit research, you can't apply all 4 to your grade in my class. You can up to 2 in my class and then distribute the other 2 points in other classes in your psychology classes if you wish. Please note that you can't improve your grade by more than 1/3 of a letter. You can't go from, a B plus, I'm sorry, you can't go from a B to an A, a full letter grade with just extra credit, because that's really grade inflation, and we have to be careful about that because it's not really fair to students who are doing the work or taking exams or getting those grades, and then just people do extra credit and don't do other things, and then they get the same grade. So that's why we do that. Other things I want to mention to you, and again, please read carefully the experimental participation extra credit policy in the syllabus. It's very detailed for a reason. If you blow off the studies that you sign up for, you only get to do that, be a no-show, so to speak. You only get to do that for a maximum amount of times, and after that, you're locked out of extra credit for the semester. Please know that you're taking time from people when you sign up for these things who expect you to take part. Okay. Online databases may be necessary for some of the assignments that you're doing for this course. So if you've never used them through the Damon Library website, things like PsycArticles, PsycInfo, Medline, please let me know and I can walk you through it. In addition to that, there are resources through the library itself, individuals there who can help you, who can assist you with how to access these databases from your computer. Same with the internet and email, and this is always true even if my course is in person, but certainly with an online course. Very important that you have an understanding, comfortability, and the tech readiness to get on the internet, to access web resources, obviously to check email, to use email, etc. With COVID especially, the college has some COVID-specific tech upgrades that they've made for faculty and students. For example, faculty and student Zoom accounts, like I'm using right now, have all been upgraded to Zoom Pro, and Zoom Pro allows for unlimited meeting time and unlimited video time. If you don't have accessibility to technological things, like you need a laptop, the college has laptops they can let you use for the semester. So if there's anything related to web resources, tech resources, especially since this course is online, please either go directly to speak with Melanie Kenyon, who is the director of our tech services now, our information services. If you feel more comfortable coming to me first and then having me help with getting you those resources, I am more than happy to do that for you. I understand how important that is. My computer actually crashed several times before I made these videos for you guys. I had to do cleanup and all kinds of wacky shit to get it to work. But believe me, I understand how important it is to have those resources. Academic dishonesty, plagiarism, I take that very seriously. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. I hope I'm not scary, and I hope if you've never taken a course with me before, I hope you know that I'm accessible and I'm approachable and I'm here to help as best I can. Please do not cheat. If you don't know what plagiarism is, it's presenting someone else's work as your own, and that can happen in various forms. I've given you links on the syllabus. If you're not sure, check out the links. Please also understand that the college has an academic dishonesty policy, and I gave you a link to take a look at what those standards are right in the college catalog. Please understand I take cheating incredibly seriously. It's not fair to other students. You're cheating yourself, right? But you're also doing something that's unfair to other students who are working hard and honestly preparing their assignments and their exams. Disability accommodations, very important. Damon College is very much committed to providing equal access to students with disabilities, and the Americans with Disabilities Act is our barometer for how to do that appropriately. I gave you information about who to contact in the syllabus, Therese Bass. And if you need appropriate accommodations, then you work through her, and then she informs me of what those are. That could mean many things. It could mean extra time for exams, extra time for assignments, things like that. Please make sure you know that the college requires appropriate documentation of the disability that you're asking for the accommodations for. So if you need any help with that, please let me know. And I'm happy to help in any way you think I can. If not, Therese Bass, I've given you her name and where she's located and her phone number and her email. Please contact her sooner rather than later so that I can be sure you're getting what you need to be successful in class. Normally I have an expected classroom behavior part of my syllabus when we're doing face-to-face in-person classes. This time, the only interaction in live space would be the synchronous class, I keep saying lectures, that's not right. The synchronous class sessions. So please remember these are optional. First and foremost, you're not required to attend them. But remember, I am making them available because some people said they wanted that. But these are not office hours. So this is not you and me only. This is other people could be there too. Please be mindful of that. It should be a safe environment for learning, just like it is in person, face-to-face. I don't want anybody pathologizing anybody if they bring something up or judging them or making them feel uncomfortable or humiliated. It's the same thing in a synchronous Zoom as it would be in person if you're interacting with other students. So please keep that in mind. Same thing with expected behavior on discussion forums. I am going to post a separate document about that. So, sort of netiquette, as it's called, as applied to discussion forums. And so I will post something about that as we get closer to Unit 4, where we're going to start those discussion boards so you understand what's expected as appropriate and what's inappropriate in a discussion board response and interaction with your fellow students and me as your professor. Netiquette is also in the syllabus, and that's sort of the larger umbrella term for any interactions in online space or virtual space with other people. I've given you some tips here about how to appropriately interact in virtual space. Don't dominate discussion. Give other people an opportunity to engage. Try not to use offensive language. Be cautious in using certain kinds of language because like all caps can be read as you shouting at somebody. Things like that. Reflect before you say something. You know, these are things that are true in real face-to-face classroom, and it's the same thing. The thing about online, as you might know, people tend to be a little less inhibited in online or virtual space than they are when they're right in front of another person, right? Especially email. So please be mindful that in this virtual space, I expect the same level of respect and appropriate interaction as I would if we were in the same room together and you were with your fellow peers in the same room. Other things. Let's see, at the end of the syllabus, I have other important course policies about emailing assignments, backing up your work. There's a withdrawal date that the college imposes that you can withdraw from the course without having to go through the Committee on Academic Standards. It's November 9th. It's a lot of time. Again, you can't redo assignments or papers once they're done. I gave you information about the college policy regarding incomplete grades. Again, computer access, especially given COVID. Please be sure that you see me if you need me to help. If not, you can go directly to Melanie Kenyon, who will make sure that you have a laptop if you need one, other Wi-Fi enhancements or access to be successful in this course and engage in this online experience. I already told you about grade information for particular assignments and how quickly or not so quickly I'll be able to get some back. We might have academic tutors this semester. So I will keep you informed about that. I've been told by the Learning Center, Student Support Services, that all academic coaching will be online this semester in virtual synchronous meetings because of COVID. But those coaching services will begin on September 21st. So if we have students available to be tutors for this course, coaches, I will let you know in the near future. Finally, grade disputes. If you have a grade dispute, you don't think you deserve the grade that I gave you on an assignment or a test, you must email me in writing within 1 week after getting that grade back. And you need a specific explanation for why you believe in writing that grade is erroneous, okay? So two things, it must be specific, it must be in writing, and it must be within 1 week of returning the grade to you, okay? So please keep that in mind. I want to be open to hearing your voice if you think you've been treated unfairly in some way, but there has to be some parameters about how we do that, okay? So that is the syllabus. I was going to throw the schedule of topics in with this, but I think I'm going to make a separate video for that because this was kind of a long video, right? And so I'm going to end the syllabus video here, and then I'm going to flip on over to our last video for now on the schedule of topics. Okay, I will see you soon.